Hello YouTube world, Pretend Farmer here. Not a real farmer, just pretending. It's the moment you've all been waiting for. I know a lot of people's been real excited about this. We got our Premier One fence here with us this morning. We've never had this kind of fencing before here. A lot of curiosity about this. These are very popular with real and pretend farmers. And we're going to kind of do an unboxing here this morning. And we're going to show the initial setup of this fence along with a little introductory review of how it works. And then after a week or two, we'll do a follow-up on how it's working out. But let's go ahead and tear into it. So here's the details. Pretend Farmer on Sunday, May the 5th, purchased Premier One 42-inch Poultry Net Plus electric fence. This is a 100-foot roll. This is what they call the double spike design, which I will show you more of in a minute. And you know, most of this Premier One fencing you see is like the white soccer netting looking stuff. Well, I didn't even know till I started shopping for it. You can also get it in like a greenish color that kind of blends in more with the environment. And I don't know if that's a fairly newer thing they've started offering, but I kind of like that a lot better than just the white. I mean, it's a farm, for crying out loud. It's going to get muddy. So for this 100-foot roll of fencing, how much you think that costs? $205.34. Holy crap. Now, let me just say right from the get-go, there are cheaper options out there. I looked into the Stark line fencing because it looked very similar, and it was like half the price. And so you start reading reviews on that. It's made in Japan. People say it's flimsy. A lot of bad stuff mixed in. Premier One has a really good reputation. And we actually reached out to Premier One not long ago on the Pretend Farm to see if they would be willing to send us some fencing. And they pretty much told us to go pound sand. They do that sort of thing, but they said we needed 10,000 subscribers before they would take a look at us. And it's like, seriously? I mean, I'd rather have 2,000 loyal subscribers than 10,000. So Premier One wasn't really willing to help us out, but I bought their product anyway because it looks like a good product and I just want something that's going to work. So here's how they packaged the stuff. It's got a nice little shroud that they made for the spike portions of it so you don't impale yourself, I guess, unboxing it. I'm just going to go ahead and start setting it up. Would you just look at that? Now basically what we're going to do is these little horseshoe spikes are designed so that you can step on them with your foot, push them down into the ground. You basically just start at point A. You're going to stretch this fence as you go and step these down into the ground. So we want it stretched tight. We want it all the way to the ground. What you do is you just kind of stretch it, get it lined up how you want it. Then you take your foot and just kind of give it one last little nudge to make sure that it's stretched tight at the bottom. Once you got your fence straight where you want it, kind of eyeball it, Pretend Farmer's OCD. Just go take your foot, push it down into the ground. It goes in easy, and this seems to be going really well. What the heck is even going on right now? And so there it is. We went off the corner of our permanent chicken run, made about a 30-foot run down here. We ran over about another 30 foot, and then kind of looped up around 40 feet, whatever totals up to 100. And we connected to the other side of their chicken run up there. We've opened up the fence there in the corner for their permanent run for now, just so they can come out and explore their new area. They got fresh green grass. We put a bowl of water out there for them now that it's getting hot. And what's neat is when we need to mow this area, which won't be too long, We just pop this fence out of the ground, mow around in here. We can put it back, or we can set it up in a different area. If this area starts to get a little messed up, I can run it out this way instead of down that way. Give them fresh grass, give the ground time to heal. This fence comes right up to about where the pretend farmer's belly button is, up over my waist. So it's a waist-high fence, 42 inches tall. You say, how in the world is that going to hold chickens in? Can't they fly over it? They 100% absolutely can. Chickens are capable of flying sometimes 6-7 feet up in the air. So you say, well, why are they going to stay in here then? Because chickens are lazy. They're lazy. The fence that we have around our garden in the summer is probably over a foot shorter than this. It's only about a 3-foot fence. They never go in there. They're too lazy to fly over it. And they could get access to all sorts of fresh plant and dirt and vegetables and stuff they like if they went in. They know it. The temptation's there. They never yield. So do I expect this fence to keep the chickens in? Yes, I do. I think it'll be fine. I think you might have one brave one get out every now and then, but I think they're going to stay where they need to be. You say, well, aren't you going to hook up electric to it, pretend farmer? No, we're not. Simply because these are chickens, they're not wild beasts. I see no benefit to having an electrified fence when your chickens aren't even going to be charging the fence or trying to dig underneath of it or anything like that. I guess ultimately, if you were going to leave it in place for a long time, they would get up against it and start trying to dust bathe. They could maybe rake their way under the fence, and electricity might help in that case just to back them off of it, keep them from doing that. But it's a temporary fence. We're not going to get that serious about it. The only real reason that I would put electricity on this fence is not to keep the chickens in. It'd be to keep other predator stuff out. Like if we had dogs that were trying to get to our chickens, you know, you have fox attacks, stuff like that, stuff that usually only happens at night. But, you know, if you were worried about something getting into your chickens, electricity would keep those predators out. And, you know, if we didn't have the permanent run, we would probably want to electrify this so that nothing could get in at night. When you're buying this fence, I've already told you got 2 color options. You've also got 2 post options as well. You can get the horseshoe looking post like we got, which is the most common, and it's what most people recommend. I would recommend it just because it was so stinking easy to stake down in the ground. You press on it with your foot, goes in, you move on. This works good, especially if you have rocky soil, you know, very thin spikes that'll go down into the ground. Now, if you live in an area where you have really soft ground, kind of mushy soil, they make another post option that's like a fatter post. I think you drive it in with a hammer. And I've been told they're not as sturdy, not as user friendly, but I guess you got options. I seem to like this. And I really like the fact that this fence is green. I didn't know until I bought this that you could get Premier One netting in green or white. It comes in both colors. This color, you almost from a distance can't even tell it's here. Now, one other thing to note about this fencing is it holds chickens and turkeys, but not turkey poults. And it also will not hold baby chicks. Come on, fatty, you can do it. There you go. Yeah, if you've got baby chicks following a broody hen around, or you have young turkey poults, anything small, obviously these openings in the fence, they can squeeze through. This is easy. It's not heavy. The whole fence rolled up, even for this 100-foot roll, maybe 25, 30 pounds, if that. And you know, I've seen where people have said that it's easier to buy shorter 50-foot sections rather than get the 100, 150-foot sections, kind of like we did. And I get that. I think ultimately it would be best if you bought 3 or 4 50-foot sections and kind of just connected them together rather than one big long section. Makes them easier to handle. You can get a little more creative with how you set it up. But honestly, the way that this netting is attached to these poles, you would have to be very reckless with this stuff to really tangle it up into a mess that you wouldn't be able to get loose. I don't think that's going to be much of an issue. Make sure you subscribe, and we're going to come back in about 2 weeks and revisit this fence. We'll see how it's working out, if we've had to make any changes or modifications to it. Maybe it won't be working out. Until next time, this is the Pretend Farmer signing out.